How you doing, guys? Big Met Dan Skull here again today, back once again with another episode of my Warhammer 40,000 Conquest series for you. Today, we'll be taking a look through the pages of issue 68. Just before we get started though, I want to just give you a heads up that next week and the following week, the videos could be delayed. That is because next week, next Wednesday, when the magazine normally comes into the store, it's Christmas Day, it's the 25th of December, so that means the store will be closed. I'm hoping that the magazine will come in on Christmas Eve instead of Christmas Day, and then I'll still be able to get the video up for you by Boxing Day, the 26th of December, which is the Thursday when my videos normally go up. And then the following week, if the video doesn't come in, it won't come in on New Year's, sorry, if the magazine doesn't come in on I don't think it'll come in on New Year's Day, because that is a bank holiday here in the UK. So if I don't manage to get it before New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, then I am going away on the 2nd of January, so it's not very likely that I'll get a video up before then. I'm going away till the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, till Sunday the 5th of January. I'm going to Prague for the weekend. So there's a chance that video won't be up till the following week. But I'm going to try and get some videos up for you. If these videos don't go out on time, just try and have another video slotted in there. I'm not sure what that video is going to be yet. It could be a giveaway, a 1,000 subscriber giveaway, which is well overdue on my channel. So definitely keep your eye on my channel in the coming weeks, because I'm hoping to finally get my 1,000 subscriber video up on the channel. And yeah, so it could be a giveaway, or it could be maybe, if we get time to record one, the first mission, the first tutorial mission that we've seen in Conquest, and sort of train myself to do battle reports over the coming issues. Anyway, that's enough chit chat. Let's get back to the content of this week's magazine. Issue 68 of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest magazine. Yeah, we get a Hemotrope reactor in this magazine, which is fantastic. It's a £27.50 kit. Now, I'm probably wrong here, but I have a feeling it might have been cheaper when we got the first one. £27.50 direct from Games Workshop. It may have been cheaper. I could go back and check my old videos, but I'm not going to. You can go back and check them for me if you like, and then put it in the comments below. No, it was £27.50 when you recorded the last one. But it may have been £22.50. I could be wrong there. I'm probably wrong. I feel like I'm wrong. But yeah, it's still, you know, it's a great saving anyway. It's £13.75 per Hemotrope reactor, because the kit you buy from Games Workshop comes with two. And we've had this in just one in this issue and one in a previous issue. So yeah, £13.75. So you're saving about £7 basically for the Hemotrope reactor. What else have we got in this week's issue? We've got Eldar Harlequins and Lieutenant Keltos of the Silver Templars. Who the hell is he? Let's find out on the inside, shall we? Flicking to the first page though, we've got Annals of the Space Wolves. We didn't know we were getting that, but now we do. An alliance broken. That is a quick story about when the Space Wolves teamed up with some Eldari forces, and they defeated some orcs, or they did very well against some orcs, and then there was a victory ceremony afterwards, and the Eldari graciously scooped up some of the dead Space Wolves and took them to this victory ceremony and to hand over the bodies, you know, fully respectful and everything. But then, because of a bad translation, insults started flying and they all started kicking off with each other, and then the Eldari and the Space Wolves were, you know, just fighting each other instead of being good old allies. Murderfang's rampage on the hell world of Omnicide. Logan Grimnar's great company, stumbles upon a feral Space Wolf dreadnought carving its way through force of Chaos Space Marines. After a fierce struggle, the murderous machine is captured and taken back to the Fang for study. So, alongside the Wolfen release, there was also this dreadnought kit released, and Murderfang is the dreadnought. It's like a feral dreadnought. It's very, you know, similar in many ways to the Wolfen. He's got like crazy wolfen hair, and he goes on murderous rampages. So yeah, very very similar to the character of the Wolfen models, the in-game character of the models. The Third War for Armageddon, Logan Grimnar sends 5 great companies. There's only 13 great companies of the Space Wolves, but Logan Grimnar sent 5 of them to Armageddon to join the Imperial forces gathering there to combat the second invasion of Ghazghkull Thraka's Orc War. On to the Iron Hand Successor chapters. Now, I don't know an awful lot about Iron Hand Successor chapters. I do know a couple of them though, like the Brazen Claws and the Red Talons. I've heard of them before at least, but that's about as much as I knew. So let's just read a bit about the Brazen Claws, shall we? Since their creation during the Second Founding, the Brazen Claws have won many victories. Their homeworld was destroyed long ago by demons, leaving the Brazen Claws as a fleet-based chapter. Ever since, they have embarked on a vengeful crusade around, and even within the Eye of Terror. Ooh, so they operate in deadly war zones. And let's read about the Red Talons as well. The second founding chapter, the Red Talons, homeworld of Raken, lies within the Segmentum Tempestus. Since their founding at the end of the Great Scouring, the Red Talons have been known for their bold style of warfare and never-ending vendetta against the hated heretic Astartes traitor legions. And then on the bottom right corner of this page, we've got a redacted. All information on this chapter has been excised from the military records by order of the Ordo Malleus, redacted, classified. You see that in Games Workshop rulebooks and stuff now and again, where they remove a sentence from a passage of text just to give you a bit of tantalising information and not really, it's sort of the kind of thing you see out the corner of your eye, but you turn and it's gone. It's to sort of to generate excitement around a certain bit of text and to get people to speculate and use their imagination, and it's a clever way of motivating people to use their imagination, I think. Onto the Moria schism, which I know as the Nova Terra Interregnum. I've heard of it. I've listened to people talk about it on podcasts and stuff like that. I think it was the Adeptus Terra podcast recently that spoke about it. Might not have been though. It might have been the Independent Characters podcast. But yeah, I've heard of the Nova Terra Interregnum. Don't know a lot about it though. But basically what it looks like is on the world of Moria. I think it's the world of Moria. The strife began when 3 techno-mystics found a small shift in Fordual Moria's data stream. From this brief event, they calculated predictions of a terrible apocalypse to come. By the time the heresy was noticed by the Inquisition, it had already spread through the computer systems of Moria like a techno-plague. The Moria cult called upon the members of the Adeptus Mechanicus to rise up against the rule of Mars and form a new imperial cult by merging with the Ecclesiarchy. Moria was soon blasted to atoms by the Martian fleet. It's basically an uprising by a cult that followed a Moria creed. And the Sons of Medusa. Last week I was talking about how, or in a previous video, either last week or the week before I think, I was talking about how certain factions, certain chapters, and certain legions are, given a bye. They're not given a bye. They're given a second chance, basically, a third chance, a fourth chance, a fifth chance. This seems to me to be another one of those instances where the Sons of Medusa, they still follow the Moria creed, despite the fact that that was involved in an uprising against the Imperium and against Mars. They are still allowed to follow the Moria creed for some reason, and they're still allowed to fight for the Imperium. It's one of those confusing things in the many and varied background stories you read in the set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, and I think it adds a lot of character to the universe, and it creates conversation. I think that's the whole idea of conflicting ideas but conflicting ways to treat different factions within the universe. It adds to the excitement of certain people to create conversation amongst them, because it can make someone like me, as a almost Thousand Sun collector, I'm looking at one painted Thousand Sun model just behind the camera at the minute, and some Scarab Cult Terminators that are converted, and you know, so I was an almost 1,000 Suns collector, and it makes me almost hate the Space Wolves, things like that. But it's just a way to create excitement in the universe and create discussion amongst fans of the universe as well, which is a clever thing on Games Workshop's part to build that kind of rich history and lore and conflicting ideas and conflicting ways to treat different factions. So on to the next page. Forces of the Eldari, Harlequins. Harlequins are one of the, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful factions in the 41st millennium. They have these sleek models in all these dynamic poses. They've got these tight-fitting uniforms on their slender frames. They wear like tunics and great coats and these like sort of old-fashioned clothing, really. And the Harlequins are basically a faction within the Eldari. Their domain is the Webway in the Black Library. Their patron deity, the god they worship, is Segorok, the trickster god of the Eldar pantheon. The signature weapons are the Harlequin's Kiss, Harlequin's Embrace, and Harlequin's Caress. Now the weapons are really cool. One thing that got me excited about the Harlequins when I had a 2nd edition Eldar Codex, one of the things that got me excited was just the description of the weaponry of the Harlequin's Kiss in particular at the time, which is basically like a punch weapon. It's got a long narrow tube, you punch it through the weak spots in an opponent's armour, and then this monofilament cable unravels inside the opponent's armour, and then it turns him into a soup, basically. So you can imagine a Harlequin just finding a gap in a Space Marine's armour, plunging this Harlequin's Kiss into there in the rubber bit between the joints, plunging his Harlequin's Kiss in there, and then this monofilament cable just whipping around the body of the Space Marine and turning them into mush, and then basically the armour just sort of collapses to the ground, and you see sort of ooze leaking out of the hole when they retract the Kiss. It's like that kind of thing. I loved the idea of that when I was a kid. I was a weird kid, wasn't I? On to the next page, we've got masks, and it talks about a few characters actually of the Harlequins, the Shadow Seers. The Harlequins are almost like the lore keepers of. When I say lore keepers, I mean Lore, not Law. The lore keepers of the Eldar. The lore keepers of the Eldar race, and they go across to the different factions within the Eldar. So they might go to outcasts at one stage, the space pirate kind of Eldar. They might go to Exodites, which are the simplistic Eldar. They like to farm on planets and stuff like that. Or they might go to the Craftworld Eldari or the Drukhari, the Dark Eldar, and they perform these rituals, not rituals really, these plays. They put on these plays, performances that tell cautionary tales from the Eldar's past, and they more often than not, or quite often at least, revolve around tales of the fall of the Eldar and don't get too big for your boots, don't do things to excess, all those sorts of things, and it's a reminder for various Eldar to just keep themselves in check, basically. But the different characters have different roles in these plays. The Shadow Seers will play the role, or they don't play a role really. They're the narrator of these plays, and they use psychic powers that they have. They are the psychers of the Harlequins. They use psychic powers to create, and also they've got hallucinogen grenades to create these effects on stage and to the viewer's eye. So it doesn't look like a play, it looks like a movie with full CGI and stuff like that. The Solitaire, if the Solitaire is in the play, then the Solitaire will be playing Slanesh. And a Death Jester is another character of the Harlequins. They have a skull mask and they take great pride and great joy in finding comedic ways to kill people. If you ever think of an old cowboy movie or a comedy cowboy movie, really, where the hero will fire his gun, completely miss the person he's trying to hit, and then the bullet will ricochet off about a million things, hit a sign, and then the sign takes out the enemy. That's the kind of death that the Death Jester seeks for the target, really. The Death Jesters fire these special Shrieker cannons where when they hit their opponent and they wound them, the body just explodes basically, and it can take out other nearby squad mates of the guy that they're trying to kill. But yeah, they'll also try and find really comedic ways to kill people. And then on the next page we've got some lovely Eldar Harlequin showcases. There's a diamond pattern that people kill themselves trying to paint on a lot of the Harlequins, but you don't have to paint your army in the diamond patterns. You see a Troop of the Midnight Sorrow here. Flicking over to the next page, we've got a troop, a Mask of the Dreaming Sorrow, which they have a quartered pattern of yellow and green, like a jade green, I'd say. And then below that we've got some jet bikes, Skyweavers and Starweavers. And then below that we've got the Mask of the Frozen Stars, which again are just a two-tone colour scheme. We've got black and white really in there, and a bit of gold on the masks, and like a tealy turquoisey colour on the trails of fabric coming off them. You don't have to, like I say, you don't have to paint in the diamond scheme. Like I was saying when I first started talking about the Harlequins, they've got these elaborate costumes anyway, so you can do it in just solid colours, the miniature, until you get more confident in your painting ability, and until you've watched thousands of hours of tutorials on YouTube or something. You feel free to just paint in a quartered pattern, or in the tunic in one colour, the pants in another colour, the boots in a complementing colour. But in the past as well, Harlequins were really garish with the colour scheme, and they'd all be mismatched, all different colours, as though they'd just picked up whatever material they could and slapped it on themselves. But now they're a lot more unified in the colour schemes. On to Silver Templars Lieutenant Keltos. This is a Silver Templars Lieutenant, and it's the typical heroic hero. It's a typical rise of a hero story that you hear in Space Marine lore. You can read codex after codex, and you've got a character or a number of characters like this in Space Marine lore where they just rise up through the ranks basically. They start off as, in this case, an intercessor sergeant, and then they rise up to become a lieutenant. And no doubt in the future, if they expand the Silver Templars lore further, it'll become a captain and probably even chapter master eventually. Because there's no set chapter master, there's no chapter master character model for the Silver Templars at the minute, and he's got his own sword that he helped forge called Mercy, and he also has a bolt pistol called Absolution, a heavy bolt pistol known as Absolution. And there's a lovely bit of artwork on that first page there, which really it's one of the lieutenants you get in the Dark Imperium set, so we'll get it, and we have it already, having got all the intercessor models and the lieutenant models rather from the Dark Imperium set with this magazine. On to the next page, how to build hemotrope reactors. Easy. How to paint hemotrope reactors next. We've already had one of these, how to build and how to paint hemotrope reactors, so seems a little pointless putting it in there, because I think it looks exactly the same as the last one we had. So what I'll do is flick to the Plasma Overload, which is the mission 52. So Plasma Overload, the Death Guard forces are trying to overload some hemotrope reactors and plasma pipes and stuff. They're trying to overload them so that the Imperial forces can't use them. We get the battlefield. It's three battle mats that we've got. Lay them out in whatever fashion you see fit. Follow the instructions to lay it out where you roll off. Starting with the winner takes turn placing a battle mat. The loser places the next one, and the winner again places the third and final battle mat. The armies this time, power rating 40, so the battles are getting bigger. 3 command points per side, and one player selects a Death Guard army, the other player, funnily enough, selects a Space Marine army. Deployment, players roll off, the winner chooses a deployment zone. You set up the battlefield as shown, of course, with the hemotrope reactors placed as shown on the map behind me. 12 inches from the long board edges. Players alternate deploying their units, starting with the players who chose their deployment zone. After all units have been deployed, the player who finishes setting up their army first can choose to take the first or second turn. Both players gain 3 victory points for each objective they control at the end of the game. The first player to eliminate an enemy unit gains 1 victory point, and the enemy warlord, if the enemy warlord is slain, you get 1 victory point. The game lasts 5 battle rounds, so it's a nice, simple one. And of course, you set up the terrain as described in the tutorial 21. On to what's coming in next week's issue. We've got a Plague Marine Champion. Fantastic. I think that'll be a £15 miniature. I'd have to double check that on the Games Workshop website, but pretty sure it'll be a £15 miniature. Maybe they've got up to £17.50 now, I'm not too sure. And then the following week, in issue 70, we are getting 2 paints. Always a little underwhelming, the paint issue. But some people look forward to getting the extra paints and the paint issues. It's the kind of thing I pick up when I go into Games Workshop. I always pick up a pot or 2 of paint, or frequently. Although I've got loads of paint now, so I don't really need any unless I'm going for a specific colour. Yeah, we'll leave it there for now, guys. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield.